Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2024 Surveyor 19Mdble. We are just going to start off the back unit. If you notice, you do have a 2-inch receiver out in the back there. You are pre-wired for an observation camera as well as a lift and stair system, and then you do have your spare tire. And then in the back left corner in this bumper here, you're just going to pull that cap out. And you stick your hand in there and reach inside. You are going to pull out that sewer hose once fully extended. It is about 15 feet long. You're just taking note of those 2 ears there. Those are going to be the same 2 ears that hook up to your sewer outlet, which I'll show you in a minute. We just keep that stored away in the back bumper to just try and keep as much smell out of the unit as possible. Then of course you got your 30 amp twist lock connection. You're just taking note of that notch there. It's going to line up with this notch here. Push that into place, twist, grab your threaded collar so you can really lock that down. If you follow that back, you do come to your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this, so you can plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home on the driveway and you want to run the fridge and the lights, or your campsite doesn't have 30 amp service, we do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keep in mind when you're going down to 50 amps power, really it's only to run your refrigerator and your lights, and that's about it. In this corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you got stabilizer jacks. The way those works is you're just going to hook the drive nut, which is located inside the front compartment. It is just a 3/4 inch socket. You're going to run that foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn just to snug it up. And it's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. You got your cable satellite inlet, as well as your black tank flush. The way that works is with your black tank connected and the valve open. Very important you do so, otherwise you run the risk of bursting your tank. You can turn on that water and it's going to flush out that tank, keeping things that little bit cleaner. You come down right below here, you do have your sewer outlet. You're missing the cap, so I'll have to put that on there before it goes. You got your gray tank and your black tank. You're always going to want to empty your black tank first. This is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with the gray tank, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Further ahead, you're going to have your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you can throw a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all your lines without the needing to run your water pump. And then of course your fresh water fill. Put your garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to fill your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. Inside here, you do just have your water heater. All you have to worry about is just that main power switch with it like it is so. It's turning it on. You got a pressure relief valve down at the bottom there. If you look down below, you're going to have your 2 low point drains as well as that fresh tank drain. And then around the front of the unit, you got your battery disconnect switch with it the way it is now. The batteries are connected to the unit. You got your battery box located inside that black box. Battery located inside the battery box. Underneath this here, you do have your standard 20-pound propane tank, which is just like Hope. Counterclockwise, turn it on to supply the unit with propane. If you want to change this tank out, you do just have to undo the 1 wing nut up front. And there'll be another wing nut around the tank that you have to remove just to slide it out of place. You got your tongue jack right up front. You got the light switch. And then of course one way is up, the other way is down. And of course you have a manual override right at the top. The way that works is you got a tool. You hook it up to the nut that's inside there and just turn it, and it's going to allow you to manually run that jack up and down in case it would ever fail on you. And then located inside this foot compartment, you're just pulling that open. You got that tongue jack override tool, which I just told you about. And then of course the tool for your stabilizer jacks. And then you got your starter kit, which does include a 15-foot water hose, that 15 amp park adapter I told you about, and some other goodies. Around this side here, you notice right up top here, you got your range hood flap. Always making sure that that's unlocked and open whenever you get to your campsite. That's way it's putting out the fumes you're trying to evacuate. And whenever you travel, just snapping it into place. That way it's not allowing any excess dust inside the unit. Located inside here is going to be your exterior water connection. Garden hose style, you only get cold water. Hook that up. You're going to take note of that. These 2 notches here. It's going to line up with the 2 notches on this side. And you're just pushing that into place and twisting it, and it locks into place. Then you'd have water, and then easy as that to get it undone. And then you do have your griddle. Take it out like so. taking your two legs, folding them out. You're gonna lock into place with this here. And there you go. You got these two legs out. Then you can just take your girdle. You got two holes on either side. Line them up with this. Push and slide that on into place. And then of course you've got two little cotter pins. Hold it on there once it's on. And then you can come behind that with that cotter pin, sliding it through. To get it connected, you got your quick connect barbecue hose, making sure you pull those dust caps off. Connect it to the regulator like so, just by pulling the collar back like an airline and pushing it into place and allowing it to lock in. I do just like assisting the regulator, that way you're not pushing too hard on it. Undo your other end, and then you can come down to this end. You're gonna notice this valve is closed. With this valve open, you would be opening the flow of propane, and it wouldn't allow you to operate that collar as an added safety measure, but it's gonna be just like the other end. Pushing it in, pushing that collar back, it'll lock into place. You can open up the flow of propane. Now it'll allow you to light that griddle, and then to disconnect it, just the same thing. Just pulling back on that collar while you pull back on the line. Making sure you put those dust caps back in place. And you're all done. To get inside the unit, you're just taking your assist handle, pushing it up, folding it 90 degrees, it'll lock into place. You can then open up your door, fold down your stairs. Taking that and sliding that, we'll bring it down. Then you can take a step on inside. So you notice on your right, there's going to be that fire extinguisher. It's going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Then you're going to have all your interior lights on that switch there. And then you got your porch light and your awning LED light. And then of course you got your slide out. Push and hold that down button. Slide out's going to start making its way out once it's fully extended. You're going to hear the motors wind up and stop. And there you go, that just winds up and stops like so. Then of course you got your awning button. Always, whenever you're running your awning, you do have to make sure that this door is folded 90 degrees so it doesn't contact those awning arms, causing any damage. But if you push and hold extend, that awning is going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Unfortunately today we're not going to be able to get fully extended, but we'll be able to get most of the way out so I can show you. And there you go, that's about all we're going to be able to get out today. Now if it were to start raining, you can take any rear arm, front or rear, pull down in the middle, right where that bolt is. That's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now if you like that angle better, because it does allow for more shade underneath, you can do the same thing to both arms. Just always making sure that you do push them back to straight before you retract your awning. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. Retracting your awning, you're just holding that retract button, the awning can start making its way in. And once it contacts the trailer, the motors are just gonna turn off, and you can let off that button. And then you got your solar controller on the wall here. It's really just a monitor panel system. It's not really a controller. It's just gonna allow you to go between, you know, your temperature, your battery temperature, your voltage, your amps that you're charging at, that kind of deal there. Not much else there. You got two key hooks in the bedroom / couch area. You do got plugs on both sides as well as USB plug-ins. To get that bed down, you can just fold the couch and allow it to fold out like so, just by picking up the end of the bed or the couch. Grab that safety latch, and that'll allow that bed to fold down. And then to get it back up, you're just doing the opposite. Take your couch, grab the foot of it, and then it'll fold back in. All the lights in the unit are also on their own center push buttons, so you can turn them on and off as desired individually. All the blinds in the unit are going to work the same way. They're just going to kind of sit where you leave them, and then one quick pull will allow it to retract back up. This is going to be a fire exit. The way that works is just going to take that red tab, pull it, and then the screen will pop right out, and you can take this arm, push it out, and hop right out of the unit. Over in the kitchen area, you got your stereo. That's going to work just like home, minus the fact of having zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 2 is going to be your exterior speakers. Zone 1 is going to be your interior speakers. Right down here, you're going to notice your central vac system. That works pretty simple as well. That turns it on. You do have also a dustpan system, so if you were to gather a bunch of stuff you sweeped up right in front of it, lift that up, it's going to suck it all inside. Just be mindful whenever you're doing so. It's really only meant for gravel and dirt and stuff like that, small debris. It's not meant for sharp, long stuff, because it does all go into this vacuum bag, which you can get to just by doing that. And you get that bag in the back there, so you can replace it. We do sell more bags here, so if you'd like to get any of those, you can contact the parts department and they can get you a quote for that. And then just sliding that over will allow you to attach that attachment in there. You're gonna have your convection oven, which is just like home, not much I'll show you there. And then you get to your oven, which works pretty simple. You're just folding that glass cover back. Being careful because it is glass. Pushing those knobs in, turning it over to high, and it'll fire right on up. Pushing the knobs in does activate the igniter. If it doesn't light right away like so, don't panic, because chances are you're just trying to clear some air out of the propane lines. And I think I actually did close the propane tank, and that's why it's doing that, so I'll be right back. And there you go. Now that that propane is on, it does light and hold itself. Pushing this button does just turn on some nice lights on the outside. Folding that down, you get your range hood. You do have your Furrion fridge. It is 12 volt, but for it to run on 12 volt while you're traveling, you do have to make sure it's in this off-grid section. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So just be very mindful of that. And then you do have a charcoal filter on the left here. That's just to help with fridge odor. We do sell more of these. You can contact the parts department and they can get you a price for those. Your furnace, whenever you are running it, is going to be putting all its air out of here. So if you do want to get a fan just to try and move some air around, you can do so. Inside this area, it is currently set up as a bed, but you could get it back set back up into a dinette. You're just having to take these cushions out, put them in the back where they belong. And then you just have to lift this table up, grab those two legs, and throw them underneath, and that would allow that table to lift right on up. You've got two bunk beds. You do have a ladder for the bunk as well, but the ladder does have to come off every time you run the slide out or you're traveling, so it doesn't cause any damage to the floor. And whenever you are winterizing this unit, always be mindful that you're not going to want to bypass that tankless heater. You do run antifreeze right through it. Light switch is on the wall here for the bathroom. You do have an overhead fan in here just to evacuate some fumes. Just being mindful that whenever you do have this open, it does allow water to come in if it were to start raining. Of course, unless you bought a max air cover from us, you can contact your parts department about getting set up with that, and that would allow you to run this fan regardless of rain, traveling, or whatever. Sink or shower, hot and cold water. You got your toilet. And then on the wall here, of course, you got your main GFI plug. You got test on the bottom, reset in the middle. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, that would be the first place I'd check. You got your extended camping holding tank heating system. That's just essentially a pad stuck on the bottom of the tanks, and it heats up when you turn it on. They say it's for extended camping season, but unfortunately our Manitoba winters get much too cold for it to be adequate all winter. Really, you're not going to want to go much below -3. And then of course you got your monitor panel system with all your tank levels and battery levels, and then you get your water heater. Turning that on supplies power to that, and it'll allow you to turn that on. You can turn it up to your desired temperature that you'd like. Then whenever you turn on the water, it'll kick in. And then to turn it off, again, you're just doing that. Water pump, turning that on. Turns on the pump that draws from the fresh tank. Last but not least, inside here, if you look underneath this first bunk here. You're gonna have your breaker and fuse panel. Whenever breaker trips, it's gonna sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Whenever you have a fuse pop, there'll be a little red indicator light letting you know which one's blown. That is gonna be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.